This is a really hard video to make. Oops. Who knew that FNAF Fan Games Ultimate was going to be so intimidating to work on? So here's a small apology video covering a FNAF fan game that's not in that video. She doesn't need to play the game at all, so I don't know what she's complaining about. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of that Cybert channel. I'm Dan Cybert, and this is a tiny Jerica. We shrank her down so she couldn't escape. Thanks, Shannon. That's Shannon, the editor for the Let's Play channel. You should subscribe, she's great. Alright, it's been a year and we still haven't released FNAF Fan Games Ultimate. And I've heard you in the comments, and in the Twitch chat, and the tiny Dan inside my head that's telling me that I'm failing. I'm fine! Totally fine. Well, it's just taking too long, and rather than do just another reaction, which, that was a detour that was unintended, I thought we can play another FNAF fan game that isn't in that script, but is blowing up right now. And I have heard suggestions across all of the different socials. So let's talk about more FNAF fan games. This is our punishment for taking so long on the video. And also because we have a sponsor today.
Oh boy, it's ad time! Now you may be wondering, hey, what kind of computer do I need to edit? Or at least I get this question from time to time. And you know, it's a loaded question. That is, until today. The good folks over at Apex PC have got the hookups to help you get your hands on a PC that's up to the challenge. So we partnered up to bring you 3 tiers of PC that can help you dive into the editing madness with me. It will be ever consuming, and you shall not be able to leave. But the PC will be good. We put together a PC for any budget, from the lower end, which I have dubbed the hobbyist, a mid-tier dubbed the creator, to the beast of a high tier known as the editor. That didn't sound epic enough. The editor! There it is. All of these are customizable to fulfill your needs. To get started, all you need to do is head down to the link in the description and then use code Cybert at checkout for up to $250 off your order. Upgrade your PC so you too can earn citizenship in the editing cave. Or just play games with a PC that can handle it and I'll just live here alone in the cave.
And add.
JRs, Juniors, whatever it is, lands us back in the FNAF universe. Do y'all remember Midnight Motorist? Of course you do. You're watching a FNAF video and you've definitely poured over this building right here. JRs, this drove me nuts. What are we looking at here, Scott? And we don't really know if JRs is just another building or is it a bar? It's not the time. Well, this game aims to answer what JRs is. And according to this, it's not a bar. Turns out it's more animatronic themed torture, so neat. But let's talk about the game. JRs put you in the shoes of someone trying to investigate JRs. No, not to solve why Orange Guy can't get in or, you know, possible child game overing. No, we're going all in with Phasmophobia, investigating the paranormal activity haunting the location, which honestly, I kinda like. Before we can even get started with our investigation, the game starts us off in the Barren Lands, a place between life and death where we meet Paul Bear.
I don't know. It's just Paul. It's just Paul Bear. FNAF fan game developers trying to explain Scott's lore, and it's just making it more confusing. And it's not your guys' fault. You guys are doing great. You're doing a much better job, but my head.
I think the first thing that you'll notice when loading this game is the different styles, which I was honestly put off at first. Why does this game have so many conflicting styles? A naive Dan once asked. That's the thing though. You have claymation for some VHS tapes, N64 graphics for the barren world, and of course the terrifying realism this game decided to take. More on that later. Initially, this feels like the styles would conflict with one another, but the use of colors and filters, it surprisingly works well together. Nothing feels like a jarring transition to each style. Everything feels slightly off and creepy. Heck, even the N64 mode has this big ol' brain. Andros would be so proud.
That's a Star Fox reference for those not older than 30. Go play Star Fox 64, please.
Do a barrel roll! I don't really have much to say about the N64 and Claymation sections other than 2 gold stars. But I think we should take a moment to talk about the main part of the game. You know, the disturbing, oh my god, are those Freddy's real teeth kind of side of the game. Could we take a short moment? Just a short, tiny little moment to just ask the question, who thought these animatronics would work well with kids? These animatronics are some of the most unsettling versions of Freddy and Friends that I've seen. Every single one of them lands in the deepest trenches of the uncanny valley. Freddy's terrifying teeth, Foxy's thick neck, Balloon Boy, Balloon Boy, Balloon Boy. Now, don't get me wrong, the design of these animatronics are just killer. They're stunning. They're incredibly well made and do a much better job emulating the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics of the 90s. I'm talking about those fur suits zipped on top of the endoskeletons. Chef's kiss. Creepy Chuck E. Cheese chef's kiss. The only thing that was getting to me was trying to answer, are these too creepy to entertain children within the world? These things are darn right spooky, and if I was a character in the world, I'm not sure I'd support these designs. But then I remembered Disney approved this. So, you know what? Screw it. Dan approved. Jerica, hit him with a sticker. Thanks. Honestly, everything blends together so well. The office looks great and does some clever things with the negative space by giving you hints on that whiteboard. The jump scares are aggressive in that good, spooky way. And these death screens, 10 creepy Chuck E. Cheese chef's kisses, the hands coming out of Foxy, are remarkable. Terrifying, but absolutely remarkable. Now, with all that being said, it's time to talk about gameplay. And here is where I may have a few nitpicks. When I play a FNAF fan game, I always base how much I like the game on how much it doesn't feel like FNAF 3093. JRs, well, toes the line. Mechanically, it's an incredible change of pace. Control-wise, it's kind of frustrating. Let me explain. One of my biggest nitpicks of FNAF and FNAF fan games is the dependence on the mouse to do everything. I'm not sure if using the mouse was just easy for Scott in the beginning, but there is way too much dependence on cursors. There are breakouts like Tealerland, more on that in FNAF Fan Games Ultimate, promise we're working on it, it's gonna happen, which make great use of the keyboard to help navigate around the office to match the frantic gameplay. JR's tries to hit somewhere in between, and frankly, I wish it would have committed to the keyboard, the superior method. Go ahead, comment down below, tell me I'm wrong, but you owe me a sub on the way up. The mouse is used to rotate your character to the 3 areas you'll be working in: cameras, control panel, and repairs. It's fine. This would have been where keyboard controls would have been nice. Just locking you in without stopping movement too early or too late. And then, like every other FNAF game, bringing up the monitor is clicking on, says I just need to left click, I'm just not seeing, oh. Okay, so I'm exaggerating a bit, but just having a prompt without saying click here is a little difficult to read when you're in panic mode, which I'm normally in at all times. Anxiety's fun, so having a box labeled camera would have been a nice touch, or you know, let me use spacebar. I love any FNAF fan game that lets me use spacebar to open my computer panels. Just saying. See, I feel there is a problem with FNAF fan games with trying to make a frantic experience or authentic experience versus making a good game experience. And I hear you. What do I know about game design? Well, joke's on you. I'm working on my own game in Unreal, so your boy just added a little bit of credibility. Not a lot, but some. The controls just feel like they're so close to being streamlined that it's just noticeable. Now, I think this is more of a bigger gripe with other FNAF fan games, but in the end, the TLDR, the controls are fine, and I just want more fan games that use keyboards. Now, let's talk about the mechanics, because while I'm frustrated with the controls, the mechanics are absolutely fantastic. Most FNAF fan games I play put you on the defense. Only a few games let you actually take the offensive. As opposed to simply just staying in one place and hoping, you'll be repairing animatronics as a defense and hunting out the haunted animatronic to move forward. and I'm here for it. The way the game works is you lose when an animatronic fully breaks down. They slowly lose integrity as the night goes on, and will lose a huge chunk if you fail a haunted guess. I've always hated the fact that one mistake means you lose, like pretty much every FNAF fan game does it. This feels like I can recover on a misguess, or more often, manage to get a win on the last haunt if I guess the wrong one first. Repairing doesn't come without a risk. If you accidentally put a haunted animatronic on the conveyor belt to the repair center, that's a death. Figuring out the haunted animatronic though is easily the biggest part of the game, and for once, you don't have a time limit. I mean, unless you don't count the fact that all the animatronics are slowly dying, but you know, you can fix that. Like I said, the big draw for me is that there is no hard time limit to figure out which animatronic is haunted, meaning getting the guess right is far more important than quickly guessing. This takes a bit of getting used to because other FNAF fan games typically have you in panic mode the moment you start the night, but here, it requires you to use, a bit more of that critical thinking you've heard so much about. JR's gameplay is just super solid, and despite some control gripes, it's a great game to play. Huh? Night 6? What's so different about nights? Oh, great. Thanks, I love it. It's another game where Night 6 ends up being completely different from the rest of the game. And in this situation, I think it does more harm than good. Now, if you've played FNAF 2, you're fine. It's just FNAF 2 with some extra gimmicks. If you haven't played FNAF 2, well, good luck, because it throws you into Night 4 of that game with extra gimmicks. You have a mask for your basic defense like in FNAF 2, but the attacking mechanic in this section is having to stop the mangle and its haunting spirit. Here, you'll be needing to use the cameras to find the spirit and flash it with your light, all while defending yourself from Chica, Bonnie, etc., you get it. This is a lot to handle after the game spent most of the time teaching you how to find haunted animatronics. Though, in fairness, the game tries to prepare you with text boxes, but also, in fairness, they're quite lengthy. Is it impossible to do? No, you'll get it. Will you tell me it's not that hard? Of course you will in the comments. Once again, you owe me a sub on the way up. Do I think the criticism is still valid? Very much so. There could have been a great boss fight using the mechanics we've already learned. With all this in mind, is JR's good? Definitely. While I have some criticism, everything does work well together. The gameplay feels unique, helping it stand out. The style is creepy and terrifying. It's just overall a very well-made game with a few flaws. Definitely worth checking out if you're into FNAF fan games.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this little detour over to JR's, a game that I'm glad that we got to cover before FNAF Fan Games Ultimate, which, I promise, is coming soon. I can say that with more confidence because now I have all the footage from all the other creators, and Jerica's editing it right now as I record this, so soon the end of the closet saga thing that I accidentally created with these hands that are doing their own thing. Oh, it's going to edit. Okay, bye!